The book of Ezekiel, chapter 8, verse 1, Ezekiel 8 and 1, Ezekiel, the 8th chapter, and the first verse. Sinful things done at the temple. One day, I, Ezekiel, was sitting in my house, and the elders of Judah were sitting there in front of me. This was on the 5th day of the 6th month of the 6th year of exile. Suddenly, the power of the Lord God came on me. I saw something that looked like fire, like a man's body. From the waist down, he was like fire. From the waist up, he was like a bright and shining like hot metal in a fire. Then I saw something that looked like an arm. The arm reached out and grabbed me by the hair on my head. Then the Spirit lifted me into the air, and a vision from God took me to Jerusalem. He took me to the inner gate. The gate is that is on the north side. The statue that makes God jealous is by that gate, but the glory of the God of Israel was there. The glory looked like the vision I saw in the valley by the Kabar Canal. God spoke to me. He said, "Son of man, look toward the north." So I looked, and there, north of the altar gate by the entrance, was that statue that made God jealous. Then God said to me, "Son of man, do you see what terrible things the people of Israel are doing? They built that thing right here, right next to my temple. And if you come with me, you'll see even more terrible things." So I went to the entrance to the courtyard, and I saw a hole in the wall. God said to me, "Son of man, make a hole in the wall." So I made a hole in the wall, and there I saw a door. And then God said to me, "Go in and look at the terrible, evil things that the people are doing." So I went in and I looked. I saw statues of all kinds of reptiles and animals that you hate to think about. The statues were the filthy idols that the people of Israel worship. There were pictures of those animals carved all around on every wall. Then I noticed that Jezaniah, son of Shaphan, and the 70 elders of Israel were there with the people, worshiping in that place. They were there right at the front of the people, and each leader had its own incense dish in his hand. The smoke from the burning incense was rising into the air. Then God said to me, "Son of man, do you see what the elders of Israel do in the dark? Each man has a special room for his own false god. They say to themselves, 'The Lord cannot see us. The Lord left this country.' Then he said to me, 'If you come with me, you will see these men doing even more terrible things.' Then God led me to the entrance of the Lord's temple. This gate was on the north side. I saw women sitting there and crying. They were sad about the false god Tammuz. God said to me, 'Son of man, do you see what these terrible things? Come with me, and you will see things that are even worse than this.' Then he led me to the inner courtyard of the Lord's temple area. There I saw 25 men bowing down and worshiping. They were at the entrance of the Lord's temple between the porch and the altar, but they were facing the wrong way. Their backs were to the holy place. They were bowing down to worship the sun. Then God said to me, 'Son of man, do you see this? The people of Judah think my temple is so unimportant that they will do these terrible things here in my temple. This country is filled with violence, and they constantly do things to make me angry. Look, they're wearing rings in their noses to honor the moon as a false god. I will show them my anger. I will not show them any mercy or feel sorry for them. They will shout to me, but I will refuse to listen to them." Ezekiel chapter 9, God's messengers punish Jerusalem. Then God shouted to the leaders in charge of punishing the city. Each leader had his own destructive weapon in his hand, and I saw 6 men walking on the road from the upper gate. The gate is on the north side. Each man had his own deadly weapon in his hand. One of the men wore linen clothes. He wore a scribe's pen and ink set at his waist. Those men went to the bronze altar in the temple and stood there. Then the glory of the God of Israel rose above the cherub angels where he had been. Then the glory went to the door to the temple and stopped when he was over the threshold. Then he called to the man wearing the linen clothes and the scribe's pen and ink set. Then the Lord said to him, "Go through the city of Jerusalem, put a mark on the forehead of everyone who feels sad and upset about all the terrible things people are doing in this city." Then I heard God say to the other man, "I want you to follow the first man. You must kill all those who do not have the mark on their foreheads. It doesn't matter if they're elders, young men or young women, children or mothers. You must use your weapon to kill everyone who does not have the mark on their forehead. Don't show any mercy. Don't feel sorry for anyone. Start here at my temple." So they started with the elders in front of the temple. He said to them, "Make this temple unclean. Fill this courtyard with dead bodies. Now go." So they went and killed the people in the city. I stayed there while the men went to kill the people. I bowed with my face to the ground and said, "Oh, Lord God, in showing your anger against Jerusalem, are you killing all the survivors in Israel?" He said, "The family of Israel and Judah has committed many terrible sins. People are being murdered everywhere in this country, and the city is filled with crime. That is because the people say to themselves, 'The Lord has left this country. The Lord cannot see what we're doing. So I will not show any mercy or feel sorry for them. They brought it on themselves. I'm only giving them the punishment they deserve. Then the men wearing the linen clothes and the scribe's pen and ink set spoke up. He said, I've done what you commanded. Ezekiel chapter 10, the glory of the Lord leaves the temple. Then I looked up at the bowl over the heads of the cherub angels. The bowl looked like clear blue, like sapphire, and there was something that looked like a throne over it. Then the one sitting on the throne said to the man dressed in linen clothes, stop into the area between the wheels under the cherub angels. Take a handful of the burning coals from between the cherub angels and go throw them over the city of Jerusalem. The man walked past me. The cherub angels were standing in the area south of the temple as the man walked to them. The cloud filled the inner courtyard. Then the glory of the Lord rose up off the cherub angels near the threshold of the door of the temple. Then the cloud filled the temple, and the bright light from the glory of the Lord filled the whole courtyard. The noise from the wings of the cherub angels could be heard all the way into the outer courtyard. The sound was very loud, like the thundering voice when God All-Powerful speaks. God had given the man dressed in linen clothes a command. He had told him to go into the area between the wheels among the cherub angels and get some hot coals. So the man went there and stood by the wheel. One of the cherub angels reached out his hand and took some of the hot coals from the area between the cherub angels. He poured the coals into the man's hand and the man's left. The cherub angels had what looked like human arms under their wings. Then I noticed that there were 4 wheels. There was one wheel by each cherub angel, and the wheels looked like a clear yellow jewel. There were 4 wheels, and they all looked the same. They looked like there was a wheel in a wheel. They could go in any direction when they moved, but the cherub angels did not turn around when they moved. They went in the direction that the head was looking. They did not turn around when they moved. There were eyes all over the bodies. There were eyes on their backs, on their arms, on the wings, on the wheels, on all 4 wheels. These wheels, what I heard called the area between the wheels. Each cherub angel had 4 faces. The first was the face of a cherub. The second was the face of a man. The third was a lion's face, and face. And the fourth was an eagle's face. These cherub angels were the living beings I saw in the vision by the Kabar Canal. Then the cherub angels rose into the air, and the wheels rose with them. When the cherub angels raised their wings and flew into the air, not even the wheels turned around. If they flew into the air, the wheels went with them. If they stood still, so did the wheels, because the spirit of the living being was in them. Then the glory of the Lord rose from the threshold of the temple, moved to the place over the cherub angels, and stopped there. Then the cherub angels raised their wings and flew into the air. I saw them leave. The wheels went with them. Then they stopped at the east gate of the Lord's temple. The glory of the God of Israel was in the air above them. These were the living beings under the glory of the God of Israel in the vision at the Kabar Canal. And now I realized that they were cherub angels. Each living being had 4 faces, 4 wings, and something that looked like human arms under their wings. The faces of the cherub angels were the same as the 4 faces on the living beings in the vision by the Kabar Canal. They all looked straight ahead in the direction they were going. This is the word of the Lord. Put those words in the comment section. This is the word of the Lord. Follow, like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you hit that button at the bottom of the screen, which is an arrow, and thereby share this video so that others can read along with us as we read through the Bible.